We are hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM. We are hearing how Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking how everything is in Dwaraka. Last time we heard, is Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives pleasure to the cows, the senses and the brahmanas, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, enjoying the pious assembly at Dwarakapuri, surrounded by friends. Mangalaya cha lokanam, kshemaya cha bhavaya cha, aste yadu kulam bodhau, adyonanta sukkah puman, yad bahu danda guptayam, swapuryam yadavorchitaha, kriranti paramanandam maha paurushika iva. The original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. So even in this world, one may have a blissful life if he is engaged in the service of Krishna. And Krishna is directly protecting him, even in this world. No need to wait until you give a body and go to Goloka. No. If you are completely unconditionally surrendered, like Prahlad Maharaj or here, they have no problem. Outwardly we may see they have problems, but inside they are not suffering anything because they are always in Atma Tattva, in their real self. Today I was hearing one Harikatha by our Srila Brihad Bharati Maharaj, and one point touched me more. He said, in this world everyone wants to avoid suffering, but suffering is automatically coming. And at the same time, material pleasure also. So they're inseparable. They're always changing. They're like two brothers. They're always together. Worldly suffering and worldly pleasure. So you cannot avoid only one. It is impossible. I will avoid suffering. But I will go on searching and making effort for worldly pleasure. That is not possible. If you want to be released from suffering, you have to give up both suffering and enjoyment. You have to give up both. Then you can be rescued. Otherwise it is impossible, because reaction will come. If you enjoy wanting to get this worldly happiness, inevitably, surely, as a consequence, you will also have to get suffering. So you cannot have one and not the other. It is impossible. So you have to give up both. Then you can be rescued. How? By taking shelter of Guru and following his instructions. Because here, I remembered here, the original personality of Godhead means Krishna, the enjoyer. He is only enjoyer. When we try to enjoy becoming averse to Krishna, we are his eternal servant. Our duty is to serve him. But immediately when we deviate and we want to enjoy, then we must get suffering. as a consequence, as a lesson. But we can be rescued if we take shelter of bona fide Guru who will teach us how to engage in the service of Krishna. Then by being engaged in the service of Krishna, when we come to that platform of being fully devoted to Him, not having any other desires, then, like here, the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. There's no difference. This Sharanagati we have to awaken by realizing Krishna is the only maintainer, Krishna is the only protector. Prahlad Maharaj was established in this by the grace of Narad Goswami. So though staying in this world, he was always happy. No suffering. And they also. And Prahlad Maharaj, to show this, Prahlad Maharaj was devotee, but on the order of Nrsimha Bhagavan, he was also as a king in this world, but he did his duty as a kshatriya perfectly and for the satisfaction of Krishna. So he was a pious king. So in those days, those who were pious kings, their target was the welfare of the citizens. That was at that time, and those who are pious. Nowadays, you will not find. They want to exploit citizens for their own selfish enjoyment, and reaction has to be there. But that time, Prahlad Maharaj, he was really working for the welfare of all citizens. Material necessities, and that they are doing their duties properly, means Varna, Ashram, Dharma, and Shraddha ceremony and everything. That is why Nrsimha Bhagavan told him, there is no need for you to do Shraddha ceremony for your father, because you are pure devotee. Not only parents of this life, but parents of your previous 21 lives, parents, those who directly served you, they were also rescued from all sins, and they are going towards Vaikuntha. They are liberated, means they will be liberated. So, no need for you to do Shraddha ceremony. But because other people, they are not on that level of devotion as you are, and they are seeing you are a king, so if you will not do Shraddha, then they will also not do. Because they are following what the leader is doing. But they are not pure devotees, so they will lose everything. So you have to be example of following all the Shastra, Varna, Ashram, Dharma for the satisfaction of Krishna, to be example for others. So Prahlad Maharaj did that, and he was king, perfect king. And some citizens, they have difficulty to express their difficulties openly. So Prahlad Maharaj or other kings who were pious, they themselves went to those people to ask what is their difficulty, because that was their target, to help, not to harm, but to help. Because they knew if I send some ministers, they may take advantage. Those people, they will express their difficulty and they will take advantage, exploit them. So he himself went to meet. So while he was doing this in disguise, Also, he met one person who was lying on the ground. Strong body, but lying on the ground in open air by the road. Then Prahlad Maharaj saw him and he said to ministers, you go and ask him why he's lying there. Then the ministers thought, he's a madman. What is the use of asking him anything? He's a madman, it is obvious. That was in their mind. Then Prahlad Maharaj understood. Oh, they misunderstood. Then Prahlad went there and he bowed down to him, full Shashtanga Dandavat Pranam to that person. And all ministers, they were astonished. What is this? Our king, he's offering obeisance to one madman. What is this? They were thinking. Then Prahlad Maharaj understood. Then, in order to remove their doubts and to give them teaching, he asked that man, why you are lying here on the ground by the side of the road? You are young, you have healthy body. You see all these people, so many thousands of people, they are going on the road. They are very busy for happiness. So why you also don't work? You have strong body, you can work hard, you can earn money, you can make one cottage for you and you can help others. You should also try for the happiness. You don't see how many people they are working for happiness? Then that man smiled. Yes, I agree. They are working for happiness, but they are not getting happiness. So why I will do this? He said, and also I'm not speaking theoretically. I went to all 14 planetary systems. I saw everything. And other species, everything. All are trying to get happiness, but they are not getting. They're getting misery. So why I will try? That is why I'm lying here on the ground. Our Parangurudev used to explain, as long as we don't try to get happiness, means this worldly happiness, we are a bit okay. By nature, by that Atmaram and by natural. But immediately when we try for worldly happiness, that time we start to suffer. We lose that natural peace and everything. So he said, I went 14 worlds. If there is any happy person, that is you, Prahlad. Because you have accepted Supreme Lord. You are the only one happy. So we see Prahlad Maharaj also told to his schoolmates, as no one wants to get suffering, but suffering is coming. Like that, worldly this happiness will also come automatically by the fruits of our previous actions. So why we should try for this? We will only waste this human life, which is not meant for this. It is meant for worshipping Supreme Lord. By that we will get unthinkable result you cannot imagine, incomparable with all these worldly things. I saw my father, he got 14 worlds, 3 worlds, upper, lower and middle, everything he got. And he was enjoying, but he was not happy. Ultimately, he started taking alcohol and do these illicit activities. He was not happy, I saw. So why we should try for this? we got this human birth, we should worship Supreme. Then we will get actual bliss. So he convinced them and told them, you will try now for happiness, and later you will become so much attached, and then you will suffer, and there will be no time to worship Krishna. So you better start now. Don't delay. Don't delay. And who guarantees you that we are thinking, let me now enjoy, then later when I will be old, I will be in pension and like this, then I will do bhajan. But who guarantees that you will live up to that point? There is no guarantee. So why wasting time? Without wasting time, immediately you start. Because that is the only thing worth trying for. Because that Brihad Bharati Maharaj said, if you will search, if you will try to avoid suffering, but not avoiding enjoyment, you cannot be free. It is impossible. That we have to deeply think. So we got this human birth for only one purpose: to come out from this worldly existence, which is diseased state of Atma, and attain blissful Supreme Lord. So our project, our target is to get spiritual realization now. When we have this chance, that should be our focus, main focus, our target. This is what we have to get in this life: spiritual realization, and for that we have to do spiritual practice as per order of Guru, and for maintenance that which is necessary for our bhajan, not more than that. Otherwise we will deviate from the purpose for what for we got this human birth. So they were enjoying life. Sai Maharaj told, yes, life is about enjoyment. That is true. But the problem is you don't know how to enjoy life. That is the problem. Life is blissful when you are living properly, means serving Krishna. But this enjoyment, that is miserable. So you have to learn how to enjoy life. They enjoyed life like the residents of the spiritual sky, although staying in this material world. That man who was lying on the ground, he was also realized in this point. He was in this world, but he was fully happy because he was not trying for worldly happiness. And he could recognize Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj could recognize him because sadhu can recognize sadhu. One who is not sadhu cannot recognize another sadhu. It is impossible. Like if someone has knowledge of some language, then he can understand that person can speak that language. But if he does not, then how he can understand? It is impossible. Or one learned person can understand that man has that knowledge. Like that, only sadhu can recognize sadhu. When Shukadev Goswami, he was going naked, 16-year-old boy, through the villages and forests and like this they were going, then other boys and villagers, they thought he's a madman. Like this person lying on the ground, he's a madman. They threw stones and ridiculed him and like this, spit also. But when Shukadev Goswami entered that arena where so many great personalities, they were gathered, they all stood up in respect of Shukadev Goswami because they could recognize but they could not recognize. Like here, those persons, they thought he's a madman, but Prahlad Maharaj knew he's not a madman. He's a really wise man. He's not doing something which will not give him what we need, but it will give opposite result. So that is wise to not do wrong activities. But they thought he's a madman. No. And he also understood Prahlad Maharaj. You are a devotee, you accepted Supreme Lord, you are the only one who is happy in this world. Then when by the will of Krishna, he will take him to spiritual sky, then he will go. But otherwise, he is happy also wherever he is. That is why pure devotee never prays for anything, even not praying for liberation, like of going to spiritual sky. No. He's only praying, I want your service, wherever I am. Even if I may be born as an insect, no problem, but let me have your devotion. So that we have to learn from real devotees to awaken this devotion, then our human life will be successful, otherwise we will waste. Yat pada shushru shana mukhya karmana satyadayo dvyashta sahasra yoshitaha nirjitya sankhya tri dashangs tat ashisho haranti vajra yuddha valabhochitaha. I remember today because I was hearing Srila Brihad Bharati Maharaj Harikatha. He also said you have to manage time. You have to chant you have to make time for chanting a lot more. But how this is possible? Because we have to manage time. We have to give up those activities which are useless and should focus on spiritual practice, because that we have to get. We have to get spiritual realization. Like someone who wants money, he knows I will have to work very hard to get that money. So his target is money, so he knows the process he will do, because that is his focus. Like here also same. If you understand spiritual realization is my need, and this is the process, then he will give focus on this. And other things only as much as they are related to assist this. But if we miss this point, then we will deviate in so many directions. But then also reaction will be there. As he told, you cannot avoid suffering and going on with enjoyment. Not possible. You have to give up and engage yourself in the service of Krishna. Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all services, the queens at Dwaraka, headed by Satyabhama, induced the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of thunderbolts, that is Indra. You will find in Taittiriya Upanishad. I can read you one second. You have heard our Gurudev used to quote from Taittiriya Upanishad one verse. Jato va imani bhutani jayante, from whom all living entities are coming. But there is one topic here in Taittiriya Upanishad about happiness. We will find. One second. It's a very important topic. Yes. I found. This is the deliberation on bliss. Suppose there is a young man who has properly studied the Vedas and qualified to teach other students. Means this, Varna Ashram or this. He is healthy, physically strong and mentally strong. The earth, full of wealth, becomes his. This is human bliss. If one multiplies the human bliss 100 times, it becomes 1 unit of the bliss of a Manushya Gandharva and of a liberated soul. There is explained, Manushya Gandharva, they are superior beings. If those humans who attain Gandharva status by dint of Gyan and Karmas, attaining hundreds of powers, such as power to be invisible, become Manushya Gandharvas. So they have 100 times more bliss than successful, healthy men in this world. 100 times. Then, if one multiplies the Manushya Gandharva's bliss 100 times, it becomes 1 unit of the bliss of a Deva Gandharva and of a liberated soul. That is superior being, Deva Gandharva. One is Manushya Gandharva, another is Deva Gandharva. If one multiplies the Deva Gandharva bliss 100 times, it comes 1 unit of bliss of the Pitris, ancestors, on their long-lasting planet and of a liberated soul. If one multiplies the bliss of the Pitris by 100, it becomes 1 unit of the bliss of the being born on Devaloka. One is born in Devaloka by special smarta karmas. Then, if one multiplies the bliss of being born on Devaloka by 100, it becomes 1 unit of the bliss of Karma Deva and of a liberated soul. If one multiplies the bliss of a Karma Deva means like becoming like Indra or Agni and like this. If one multiplies the bliss of Karma Deva by 100, it becomes 1 unit of the bliss of being Devata and of a liberated soul. The Devatas are Vasu, Rudra and others. They receive oblations. Indra and Brihaspati are famous Devas. Then, one multiplies the bliss of a Devata by 100, it becomes the bliss of Indra and of a liberated soul. If one multiplies the bliss of Indra by 100, it becomes the bliss of Brihaspati, Guru of the demigods, and of the liberated soul. If one multiplies the bliss of Brihaspati by 100, it becomes the bliss of Brahma, four-headed, and of the liberated soul. If one multiplies the bliss of Brahma by 100, it becomes the bliss of Brahman and of the liberated soul. Means Brahman means Supreme Lord. So why I read this? Because I was thinking why they are saying that if someone multiplies human bliss 100 times, that is the bliss of Manusya Gandharva and of a liberated soul. I thought liberated soul has much more bliss. Why it is said he's getting that bliss, that is the bliss of that Manusya Gandharva and of liberated soul. And then again, if Deva Gandharva and of liberated soul. Then it is explained by Ramanuja, it means that liberated soul is having all those blisses automatically. Because he's having all bliss. So a liberated soul is not deprived of anything. Like our Gurudev told, if you become a child of Supreme Lord, then everything is yours from this relation, because you are son of Krishna. He's the owner of everything. Everything is available to you. So therefore, devotees, they don't go to Krishna to pray for something, because that is not intelligent. Devotees are intelligent. They are praying only for the service of Krishna. And by getting Krishna, they get everything. Like Brajavasis, our Gurudev told, when Krishna was lifting Govardhan hill, then they were just seeing him, and they were getting such bliss that they forgot about eating, sleeping, everything. No desire, because they already had complete bliss. By getting whom you get everything, by knowing whom you know everything. That is also in Upanishad, just that Vigyata, that Bhavati. So here, a liberated soul is not deprived of anything. He has that bliss also, and like this, because everything, all bliss he is having. So it is explained in this way on purpose, so that one will not think. I remember this topic, why? Because here in Bhagavatam, we read just now that the queens, by serving Krishna, because he conquered all demigods and everything, thus the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of thunderbolts. What the wives of Indra are enjoying, devotees are also enjoying automatically, because they have complete bliss. So here you see how, what is the bliss of someone who attained Supreme Lord, this multiplication 100 times. So why we are trying to get this human bliss, that thing, all these things? No. If you become liberated soul, you will have everything, but you should not try for that. We should only try for the service of Krishna. By getting that, you get everything. And there is no anxiety and no fear, no nothing. So we need association of such devotees who understood this point and are practically engaged. Shrotriya Brahmanishta. He understood Shastra and he's following Shastra. He's Brahmanishta. He's fully engaged in the service of Supreme Lord. So by the association and by hearing from such souls, persons, they will make us accept that we will have focus on that. when our Gurudev, in his first question to Param Gurudev in his life, first question, I am meditating and I think now Supreme Lord will come, but I become afraid. Then I stop, because if Supreme Lord will come, then I will have to give up all these worldly, these relations and everything. So I become afraid and I stop meditating. Then he asked, so what I should do so that I will not stop, I will go further. Then Param Gurudev told that story. There once some swans, they were going from Manas Sarovar to the sea, or opposite, maybe from the sea back. Anyway, point is same. They were going, yes, from sea back to Manas Sarovar in Himalaya. Very beautiful. One Mansarovar is also Vrindavan, but not that one. That is Mansarovar. This is Manasas, like a mind of pure devotees, very clean. So there were some geese or ducks, both you can say, in one small pond. And one swan was flying, he saw, oh, they are our species, they are also birds. So they are living in this very, this place. And he got compassion for them. He came down and they were all attracted by seeing this swan, that big, white, very beautiful, and they were attracted. Oh, you are so beautiful. Where are you staying? We think if we would stay there, then we could also be like you, beautiful and happy and all this. Then he said, we are staying in Manasarovar. So I request you, yes, for that reason I came down to request you go there. It is better than this, where you are staying now. Then they said, yes, we want to go, but the difficulty is this, we cannot fly so long. We can only little, we can fly. Then he said, then I will take you on my back. I will take you there. Then the duck said, but there is one thing. There where you are staying, these shrimps and snails and worms and all these things, what we are eating here, that is available there. Then Swan said, no, these nasty things, they are not available there. We are eating the lotus stems, of lotus flower stems. That is very healthy and good, very tasty, like nectar. Then the duck said, oh, then we cannot go. Because they were so much attached to these filthy things. They are filthy things, but we think they are very good. Because we don't know what is actual. So like that, we are attached to these worldly pleasures, thinking they are real pleasures. So we don't want to give up this to attain real pleasure, real happiness. We are afraid due to attachment and ignorance. So like we don't want. So then Param Gurudev said, that is why we are unable. But there is that verse in Bhagavatam, Tato Utsrija Sats, that verse. Therefore, intelligent person will give up bad association, persons who are pursuing these worldly pleasures, and will take association of realized souls who, by their words, which are realized, not theoretical, their words will act like a sword to cut that attachment to these filthy things. We think they're very good, but they are not. So they will, by their harikata, it will act like a sword. They realize, so they will cut that. Then we can have that desire and that effort and that focus to attain that, giving up these things. And you will not lose anything. You will gain much more. And here Upanishad says that bliss is also in liberated soul. Why you are afraid? All complete bliss is that. So we have to associate with realized souls to get that determination for attaining service of Supreme Lord, not for other things. Otherwise we will waste this human life. So here, the queens, they were getting that also. And it's not so easy to understand, but it is very good point. It is written there to make us interested in liberation from this mind. Because this bliss, and liberated soul also has that bliss. Yad bahu danda bhu da ya nu jivino yadu pravira yakuto bhaya muhu adikramanti angribir ahritam balat sobam sudharmam sura sata mochitam. I remember Srila Bhakti Tilak Nishkinchan Maharaj by reading this verse. He used to explain this Akuto Bhaya. The great heroes of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of Lord Shri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect. And therefore their feet trample over the Sudharma assembly house, which the best demigods deserve, but which was taken away from them. That is in another one verse, Akuto Bhayam, means one will be rescued from all fear by taking shelter of Supreme Lord. Yes, here Sai Maharaj is telling, a forgetful, conditioned soul is fearful, but a liberated soul is never fearful, just as a small child completely dependent on the mercy of his father is never fearful of anyone in this world, child. But if you can imagine your father, Supreme Lord, he is the owner of everything, not only of some wealth in this world or some these things. No, Krishna is the owner of everything, and he is omnipotent. He is all powerful. So if you are his son or daughter, you are in his shelter, then how you can have any fear or any anxiety? Practically, Prahlad Maharaj. So fearfulness is a sort of illusion for the living being when he is in slumber and forgetting his eternal relation with the Lord. Since the living being is never to die by his constitution, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, then what is the cause of fearfulness? A person may be fearful of a tiger in a dream, but another man who is awake by his side sees no tiger there. The tiger is a myth for both of them, namely the person dreaming and the person awake, because actually there is no tiger. But the man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful, whereas the man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. Thus, the members of the Yadu dynasty were fully awake in their service to the Lord, and therefore there was no tiger for them to be afraid of at any time. The dream thing. But when we are dreaming, then we are getting fear, suffering, all these things. So we have to awake from this dream of material existence by the grace of realized soul. Then that will be actual solution to all problems, not by thinking that in future the scientists they will invent that our body will remain eternally, will not die. That is never going to happen. That is all false. The real solution is this, given by realized souls. Kachit te namayam tata brashta teja vibhasime alabda mano vagyata kim va tata chiroshitaha. My brother Arjuna, please tell me whether your health is all right. You appear to have lost your bodily luster. Is this due to others disrespecting and neglecting you because of your long stay at Dwaraka? Kachin nabi hato bhavai shabdadibir amangalai na datam uktam arthibhya ashaya yat pratishrutam. Has someone addressed you with unfriendly words or threatened you? Could you not give charity to one who asked? Or could you not keep your promise to someone? That is, someone who is truthful, it is very difficult if he cannot fulfill the promise. But nowadays, they are telling all these things that they don't care about fulfilling or not, nothing is there. It's Kali Yuga. Or someone is asking for help. They will want to help. And if you cannot help, you will not feel good. That is real gentleman. But we want to exploit others. What to speak of helping, we want to exploit even at the cost of his harm for my own selfish purpose. Kachit tvam brahmanam balam gam vridam roginam striyam sharano pasritam sattvam nyatakshi sharanaprada. You are always the protector of the deserving living beings, such as brahmanas, children, cows, women, and the diseased. Could you not give them protection when they approached you for shelter? Kachit tvam nagamo gamyam vasat kritam striyam parajito vata bhavam no tamer nasamaih pati. Have you contacted a woman of impeachable character, or have you not properly treated a deserving woman, or have you been defeated on the way by someone who is inferior or equal to you? There is Narottam Thakur told, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, that 6 enemies. One is Moha, being in grief due to attachment. This is mine, So when you lose, then there is grief, moha, then you become bewildered. Like so devotee, they are regretting, like Kshatriya will regret if he cannot do these things. But devotee will also have this regret. Still I did not worship Krishna. I did not attain his service. I have no interest to chant his name for his satisfaction. In this way he will feel remorse, not because of worldly things. And for a Kshatriya, this is also cause of remorse if he cannot properly do his duty. Like that devotee, he would think, I am wasting my time. I am eternal servant of Krishna. Till now I did not get realization. In this way he will use that. Time is over. So further, Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking him, what is the reason for his this pale complexion? So many reasons he is giving. So one who is sense enjoyer, he will feel remorse when not getting that sense enjoyment. Even he is willing to harm others for that. So he is very unhappy when not getting. Kshatriya, real Kshatriya will be very unhappy when he will be unable to do his duty. And devotee, he will feel this regret. I am wasting my time. What I'm doing? Till now, I did not attain realization of Supreme Lord. I did not get his service. So that can be awakened by realized soul, because they will show us what we have to attain in this human life. So tomorrow we will hear further.